look at what's going on this week in the news. We begin with news from the Vatican. Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI joined Pope Francis at a mass dedicated to the elderly in St. Peter's Square. Pope Francis specifically invited Pope Benedict to attend the event, making it the third time since his retirement that the German pontiff has made a rare appearance in public with his successor. Carrying a cane but looking strong, Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI arrived about 1 hour into the event. Pope Francis made his entrance with a small group of families. He immediately went to greet Pope Benedict. Pope Francis then celebrated Mass with 100 elderly priests from around the world. Catholic News Service has more.
Anche ringrazio specialmente la presenza del Papa Emerito Benedetto XVI. Io ho detto tante volte che mi piaceva tanto che lui abitasse qui in Vaticano, perché era come avere il nonno saggio a casa. Grazie. Ma non sempre l'anziano, il nonno, la nonna ha una famiglia che può accoglierlo. E allora ben vengano le case per gli anziani, purché siano veramente case e non prigioni. E siano per gli anziani, non per gli interessi di alcun altro. Quante volte si scartano gli anziani con atteggiamento di abbandono che sono una vera e propria eutanasia nascosta. È l'effetto di quella cultura dello scarto che fa molto male al nostro mondo.
Some 40,000 grandparents, retired men and women, and their families attended the Blessing for a Long Life event organized by the Pontifical Council for the Family. In news from around the world, a symbol of Christianity's history in Iraq has been destroyed by Islamic militants. Rome Reports has more on the attack and the refugees fleeing the land.
The famed Green Church in Tikrit, Iraq was reduced to ashes. Militants from the Islamic State surrounded the church with explosives and detonated. The church was a historical monument that was built 700 years after Christ. The militants are scorching the Christian roots of the Middle East. At the same time, the constant stream of refugees continues to grow, and the humanitarian crisis is multiplying. Turkey is now receiving thousands of displaced people. The country opened its borders to allow more than 130,000 refugees escaping the violence.
It's just the biggest influx that Turkey has seen so far. The needs are urgent, needs are so big. Most of them are women and children. We are trying to do as much as we can, coordinating with the officials here, but it's really not enough.
The refugees carry the few belongings they were able to salvage before fleeing the fighting between the Islamic State militants and Kurdish soldiers. They made the journey in exhausting conditions. This woman and 16 of her relatives were able to reach the border safe and sound. Although 8 months pregnant, she carried a baby in her arms. We were all terrified, and we fled our houses because of the bombs. Every night we would come and sleep here at the border, and then go back to our houses a bit in the morning. All our children are sick. What can we do? May God help us. Recently, the Islamic State has taken over more than 60 cities in northern Syria, close to the Turkish border. Pope Francis will be traveling to Turkey from November 29th to the 30th, where the Chaldean Christian community has experienced a notable growth with the arrival of thousands of Iraqi refugees.
In news now from around the country, family will be the focus of the 2015 World Communications Day. Communicating the family, a privileged place of encounter with the gift of love. will be the theme for the church's celebration, which most dioceses will mark May 17th, the Sunday before Pentecost. The Pope's message for the day is expected to be released January 24th, the feast of St. Francis de Sales, patron saint of journalists. The Pontifical Council for Social Communications announced the Pope's choice of the theme September 29th. The council said the news points out many of the difficulties facing families today, and oftentimes cultural changes do not help people appreciate how much the family is a good for society. The council went on to say that the challenge facing the church and its work in communications is figuring out how to share with the world the beauty of love, life, and marriage between a man and a woman. Finally, in the news, Pope Francis celebrated a landmark anniversary for his order. Rome Reports has the details from the Jesuit Church in Rome.
The first Jesuit Pope celebrated the 200th anniversary of the restoration of the Society of Jesus at the Jesuit Church in Rome. Pope Francis presided over Vespers with a painting of Our Lady of the Way present on the main altar. It is an image that is venerated by the Society, especially by their founder, St. Ignatius of Loyola, who prayed often to her in Rome. The Pope spoke about the time the Jesuits were suppressed and reminded them of how God accompanied them.
Dio ci vuol bene e ci salva. A volte il cammino che conduce alla vita è stretto e angusto, ma la tribolazione, se vissuta alla luce della misericordia, ci purifica come il fuoco, ci dà tanta consolazione e infiamma il nostro cuore affezionato alla preghiera.
Pope Francis also asked the Jesuits to be expert and courageous rowers and to always be at the service of the Church.
Remate dunque, remate, siate forti, anche col vento contrario. Remiamo a servizio della Chiesa, remiamo insieme.
Before leaving, the Pope blessed a recently installed painting at the Jesuit Church. It is called The Descent of Christ, and 3 important Jesuits are portrayed, among them Father Pedro Arrupe.
And that is all the information we have for you at this time. I'm Kevin Nelson. Don't forget you can keep up to date on Catholic news throughout the week with Catholic Newsbreak right here on the Catholic TV network.